Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I have your gameplay for the Harry Hopkins Mk.1. This is a currently rank 2 battle rating 2.3 light tank in the Great Britain Ground Forces tech tree and sits after the Sark Mark 6 2-pounder and before the 6-pounder variant of that same vehicle. Now, this is a brand new vehicle with the Hornet's Sting Major update and pretty much fulfills the same role as the Locust in the US Ground Forces tech tree. Now, this is supposed to be an airborne tank, so it's lightweight, has a small cannon, fast firing at least, and of course has minimal armor, but is pretty decently quick. Now, insofar as light tanks are concerned, I really wish that this thing was quicker. It only has a 48 kilometer per hour top speed, which is not very good, and the reverse speed is actually really bad, only 4.4 kilometers per hour. Now, this does have a stabilizer, however, the stabilizer stops working give or take around 10 kilometers per hour, if I'm not mistaken, which is just not very good. It's practically useless because when you have a stabilizer that only works that slowly, then you'd hope that you have some level of armor in order to deflect enemy shots, because if you can't dodge enemy shots, you're going to be hit by them. But of course, again, this has very little armor. Now, this thing does have a smoke grenade, which isn't all that common at this BR, so I mean, it has it going for that, but otherwise the armor really isn't all that great. It says 38 millimeters, but realistically speaking, even if you shoot the side there, it's minimal. The top there, it's barely even angled, and here still, most vehicles are going to be able to shoot right through it. So this thing is minimally armored. Also, the turret rotation speed, I think, is a little bit bugged because it says it gets a 16 degree per second turret rotation speed with an ace crew, whereas I have an expert crew and somehow have above that. Also, the reload rate's pretty decent, 3 seconds. So it's not a bad vehicle. At 2.3 BR, I feel like, at least thus far in my own gameplay with this thing, it hasn't been fantastic, but it's not absolutely awful. And you can still shoot through up to 86 millimeters, actually just a touch more than that, 89 millimeters, with its best solid shot shell, but personally, I feel like this should be 2.0 BR. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get into a few matches, test this thing out. It's got itself a great vertical guidance, and which allows for a lot of flexibility. That said, let's get into it. Okay, we have an enemy, and I'm gonna probably switch. Oh, look at that. We have ourselves a proper hit. Got ourselves another hit. And I'm just going to fire on this guy a little bit more. I would use my other ammunition, the ammo with the explosive filler in it. However, when it comes to a light tank, I know it's an SU-76D. It's not really all that well armored. It's just, I only use those for like flanking operations. Because quite honestly, this doesn't really have the panache that you typically need for going toe-to-toe with the vehicle head-on. So we're going to keep on moving on. But regardless, so when it comes down to this vehicle, do I think it's terrible? No, I don't. However, there are enough issues with it, in my opinion, that I feel like it could be a whole lot better served at 2.0 BR. Kind of like where the Locust is. And again, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that it's 2.3 coming into the live server, but not really at the same time. Like, it's a weak 2.3, but I feel like it would be a strong 2.0. Because you're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of reserve tanks at and around that BR. Is that a tank? No, that's a rock. And the problem is that when you're fighting reserve tanks with a vehicle like this, where it has more than just solid shot, which I'm going to fire in just a second here. That looks like something I should be able to shoot through the side of, and I can. It doesn't even do all that much damage once it actually gets into the enemy tank, as you can see there. So, I mean, this itself, the Mk.1 APT, isn't even all that great when it comes to post-pen damage. Like, it's acceptable, but it's still not even very good. Like, it does much less post-pen damage compared to similar charges, so like similar explosive filler amounts that you'd see in German tanks, for example, of around this BR, which is just very, I don't know, this, like, I feel like the main thing with this vehicle, the survivability isn't very good, obviously. Like, I get one shot pretty much all the time. I mean, the interior of this thing is cramped, but you also have it where the armament sucks. I mean, quite honestly, it's just not very good. And I feel like that is probably the biggest weakness of this vehicle. It takes more or less 2 shots every single time that you actually want to get a kill. Not 2 shots, multiple shots. Typically more than just 2. Every time that you actually want to get a kill against an enemy in order to kill said enemy. I'm going to fire on this guy. Probably not the smartest idea to fire from here, but that is a low BR Stug, so I was able to get him. I feel like ultimately, as with so many of these vehicles, probably the best way to actually use it, ooh, that's not good, is going to be in a, okay, there we go, we got the commander and gunner, is going to be in a flanking role. I probably okay, this should be a kill. In instances like that, I should probably use the, whatchamacallit, the Mark 1 APT, but it is what it is. But not doing too poorly. We have ourselves 5 kills, 1 assist. So, it's not bad. I mean, the reload rate is pretty good. I think I've got like 3 seconds with an expert crew, which is reasonably decent. Or actually really good. The expert crew doesn't really cost all that much. If memory serves, it was something like 12,000 SL, which isn't bad. Oh, and this is another point. Look at that reverse speed. It's atrocious. Like, really, really bad. Oh, and look at that. We have ourselves a one-shot kill, or death, rather. Just went right in, and boom. Like I said, that crew is too close together. So that's it. Let's get into another match and try this thing out. So, when it comes down to this vehicle, the Harry Hopkins, also, man, I hate that we can't go over to that side. It's so stupid. But when it comes down to the Harry Hopkins, I like it, but only because of his historical value. I feel like Gaijin has done a tremendous job, like genuinely a tremendous job, of getting vehicles like this that a lot of people might not know about. Maybe like they were prototypes, maybe they were like low production vehicles that saw extremely limited action, whatever the case might be, right? Just all these vehicles that not a lot of people know about. They've done such a great job of putting these into War Thunder as, for the most part, working models. And I think that's wonderful. My concern... Oh, that's my nemesis. My concern with this is quite simply that it's just not all that great of a vehicle. Oh, I love it when people get behind me like that. It's just not all that great of a vehicle, unfortunately. I feel like there are better vehicles out there. Like the Stuart 3, for example, is just a better vehicle than this when it comes to a 2.3 PR light tank. It's just better. It's got better turret reverse. It's got better... I think it's got better turret reverse. It's got about the same armament. It's got a 0.1 second slower reload when fully aced, so functionally, most people won't even notice any difference at all. It's got a, I think about the same power to weight ratio, possibly a touch higher. It's got a better top speed, noticeably. It's got better armor for the most part, not necessarily frontal armor. It's got the same thickness when it comes to the front, but when it comes to the sides and the rear, it's got more armor. And so you have a vehicle that is just practically superior. Oh, it also has an LMG up top, which is very nice for helping out versus lightly or really open top vehicles, I mean to say, as well as aircraft, of course. And so it just feels like this vehicle at 2.3 BR really doesn't have it. Oh, and it also has a better stabilizer. This thing really only has like an 8 km/h stabilizer. That's it. It's not a very good stabilizer for all intents and purposes. Maybe like a 10 km/h stabilizer, but the cruise control, in order to actually effectively use it, only goes up to 8, so I'm just going to say it's 8, even though really it is a little bit better. But that said, it's just not all that great. I personally feel that if this was to be at 2.0 BR, this would basically be more or less about the same as the Locust is currently. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's a little bit slower than the Locust, which is fine. But, I mean, who's to say, like, why would it need to be necessarily faster? I feel like this is a totally fine vehicle at 2.0 BR. I feel like 2.3 is just a bit weak for where it is, obviously, as I had mentioned. And I don't know, it's just there are enough issues with this vehicle, lack of armor, for example, that it just doesn't feel all that great. Now, again, its armament is actually not that bad. Again, for a vehicle like this, I feel like it's fine. It's got an okay, or really good, rather, reload speed, which is, of course, a very nice thing to have when dealing with a vehicle with such a light armament. And, again, it's got reasonably good power-to-weight ratio, reasonably good shell size, all that stuff. Ooh, Commander Gunner. I'm going to switch to my APHE now. I thought he was going to move up a little bit. Doesn't matter. We are getting ourselves some kills, man. Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's all about the flanks. All about those flank stakes. But I like it. But again, it feels like there are better out there. And you might be saying, oh, well, Tankenstein, you're doing so well. For the most part, I'm not doing nearly this well in most of my matches, admittedly, with this vehicle. It's just, in my opinion, not all that great of a vehicle where you can rely on it consistently to do decently enough for most people. I feel like it's a reasonably good vehicle. It just doesn't necessarily have, in my opinion, what I feel like most people are going to want from a vehicle like this. In that, when you sacrifice so much armor, you want a little bit of speed, or maybe like it to be a little bit smaller than it currently is, and this vehicle unfortunately just lacks that, or a better stabilizer, which again this vehicle lacks. Also, I'm really surprised I'm doing this well. We have an enemy over here, I think. Oh, quite a few enemies actually. Okay, we have ourselves, let's just keep on firing until we have no ammunition. Another kill. I'm really surprised I'm getting all these kills, like one-shot kills with solid shot. I was not able to do that about 20 minutes ago. Another solid shot kill. That is just bonkers, man. Absolutely bonkers. So I'm doing quite well, actually. 11 kills, 1 assist. Oh, that's unfortunate. 12 kills. I think at this point we're pretty much barricading them into their base, which is unfortunate for them. But in instances like this, if you can successfully flank, for example, this thing can be amazingly good. But you could say that about other things, like the Sherman, or rather like the Stuart. You could say that about the Locust at 2.0 BR. I just feel like, in large part, again, this just doesn't really have what I would hope for a vehicle quite like this. Let's go ahead and hope that we can get ourselves a kill. Okay, doesn't really matter so much. An assist is totally fine. Keep on moving. I just don't know how the hell this is even possible. So, again, you could say, oh, well, Tankenstein, you got 12 kills, 2 assists, and a base cap. Yeah, but ultimately I'm facing a lot of low-level people, and again, for the most part, I've not done nearly this well with this vehicle. There have been many matches where I had either 1 kill or no kill. And so this is more the exception to that rule than anything else. I know. Oh, he's in his base. Well, where else are we going to go, right? I hate doing it, but... That said, I mean, we have 13 kills. I guess, you know what, just to be messy with this, because a lot of people are going to be doing this, I'm going to go ahead and play one final match, but in arcade. So, again, do I like it? I like it for its historical value, but when it comes to actual in-game, it's got a fine armament, like, it's good enough, but its speed really doesn't make up for its lack of armor, unfortunately. At least, that's kind of what I feel like. So, of course, here we are in arcade with the Harry Hopkins. Again, a little bit of a departure from what I normally do. I haven't played arcade in months, and I haven't recorded arcade in probably at least that long. So it's been a while, but it definitely makes this thing feel a bit more lively. Now, interestingly, I found this to be very strange. The Stuart 3 has a lower BR in arcade than this does, somehow. So a little bit strange. Let's see if, just gotta shoot him a little bit here. And we have ourselves a kill. We got some enemies over here. Plenty of enemies. I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot right through. I'm gonna attach my APHEs. Not really doing much damage, unfortunately. Got target destroyed right there. This is just beautiful. I love flanking. Gotta do the stanky flank. Oh, baby. There we go. And he's trying to turn. He's not going to get it. But we are almost out of APHE already because I just, unfortunately, didn't equip enough. But, you know, that's kind of the risk you run with a tank like this. Is that ultimately, while it's not a bad shell, again, I don't really feel like it's all that great. And so you run out of them pretty quickly because this vehicle just doesn't really have the ability to carry a ton of ammunition. So we got some more enemies over here, you know. I was going to equip a bomber. Wouldn't that be fun in this here situation? Oh, I am like right on the edge of the of that 15-degree turret or the cannon depression, right on the border of it. Just about good enough. Okay, we are getting some nice kills though. M22, M20 dead. Okay, that wasn't even clever. I'm gonna die. Nope. Maybe? I don't know. Am I dead? That was a long time, man. So, I mean, in general, though, do I like this vehicle? Well, how much can I say? Yes, I do. I've said that before. I'm not just going to go ahead and repeat myself over and over and over and over. I'm going to die here. This is on purpose, by the way. A little bit on purpose, at least. Let's go ahead and just go throw some smoke. I'll pull a Houdini here and just escape. But, I mean, it's a fun vehicle. It's a fun vehicle. I can't really complain, that's all. It's a fun vehicle, a weak vehicle, again, at this BR. But, so what? You know, at the end of the day, this is like, it'd be one thing if it was like, oh man, I worked like 10 years to get to rank 7 and this is it? But this isn't it, you know, like, there are so many other vehicles out there, and it's like, this is just such a small portion of the War Thunder journey, so to speak, and so, the fact of the matter is that, yeah, even though this vehicle, again, at 2.3 PR, I feel like is a bit weak, it can still do quite well. I mean, as evidenced by this match, my previous match, you know, there's enough evidence out there where I feel like this is a decent enough vehicle and that most people probably won't dislike it all too much. It could be in a better spot, for lack of a better way of saying it. But, so what? You know, I mean, it's a 2.3, possibly going to be 2.0 in the future. Also, I don't know why this is chopping up. Hold on. Oh, there it is. This new, the new update is not really playing well with my graphics card, I guess. We have ourselves one more bomb. I'm going to drop it on this Kachi, if I can. Time to get into some defensive gunnery. Shoot down some people if I can. I really don't care. I mean, this sort of thing, it's like, it doesn't matter. Save your vehicle to get an extra reward. Okay. I mean, these people aren't really doing much, much damage to me, I guess. But, yeah. The Locust is cool. Or not the Locust. It feels like a Locust. The Harry Hopkins is a cool vehicle. Kind of crappy. I like it for its historical value, but again, insofar as the game is concerned, weak 2.3 BR would probably be a pretty strong 2.0 BR. That's how I feel. So as I said, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.